good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the last Wednesday of January. Where'd January go? I mean, it seems like it just started, but it seems so far away, right? Beginning of it? Or is that just me? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Welcome, welcome. Makers and Movers Podcast. How are we doing this morning, folks? Today we've got a good topic. This is brought up in a one-on-one session that I had with somebody, and they said that they felt like a fake business. And so we had some discussions about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a show on it to tune in. And so that's what they're going to do today. I talk about, why you keep feeling like that. Now, with that, if it's your first time here, long time here, and you know who you are, where you're from, what's in your cup, and what the weather is in your area, along with your five things that you are going to accomplish today. My 5 things are all out of whack, because Corey was supposed to fly back yesterday and they got delayed, and so they won't be flying in until today. So everything that I had planned to go over with her today now got moved till tomorrow. Opens up some stuff today, but it still throws more things into it, because traditionally Wednesdays are a little heavier of a day to pull and ship orders, because we did Tuesday with Todd last night, where we made stuff. I don't need a Valentine. I need tacos. We did that last night. If you missed it, go back and watch it. We had 2 of our daughters, first time ever, pressing rhinestone shirts. I think they crushed it. They had an amazing. I don't have words to how proud I am of them for it. So go back, give them some love on that. And that carries in today. Well, Wednesday is also a short school day. So, Corey not here. That means I gotta get kids from school. So it's about an hour earlier. So just a lot of things. So we still got to pull orders, pack orders. I've got a couple phone calls here this morning. We've got meetings, and they pick the kids up from school. I got that on here so I can make sure to remember to do that. Now, let's check in. As far as weather, it's like 6 degrees. It's like a heat wave. The wind last night was not nice. After we got off the show and I took the dog out, oh my god, it was bad. It felt worse than what it had been before. So I think right now it was 6 when I looked. We're gonna look and see right now. 6 feels like -6. All right, I guess we'll take it. Morning from sunny -3 Chicagoland, water in the bottle, and working on making tea. Good morning to you, Renee. Barb, good morning. North Central Minnesota, where it is -11, feels like -25. It's just ridiculous. Hot tea in the cup. 5 things: 3D printing, digitizing, pressing hoodies, embroidered towels, and quotes. Hi, Renee. Zan, good morning to you. Renee, morning, Barb. Pasha, good morning. Sunny, 17 there in the Ozarks, and that's cold for you, right? You guys don't traditionally get that cold there, do you? We're getting a couple new designs today in schedule social media posts. You got it. Keith, good morning to you. Sunny but chilly. Space Coast 4 to 4. 44 is it's bad. Yeah, my cold brother has got drunk and lost up in my front yard. Can you please come retrieve it? If I come down there, I'm staying there, because it's like a heat wave right now. We're in negative temps, but 44. Yeah, everything's shutting down south, right? They're just like, it's cold. We're done. Tim, good morning to you. Cindy, good morning. It sticks out. I'm drinking pistachio latte. I've got a Celsius tropical vibe. Mail run, Mentern art class. Go to a town hall about housing affordability. Stitch key fobs and unpack bunnies. Ooh, it's almost time for bunnies, isn't it? Isn't it? Almost time for bunnies. I love watching Cindy embroider bunnies. I might create my own sound effects, but it's pretty good. And Jerry, good morning to you. Cindy, we had a conversation with somebody at the U of I yesterday about, they were talking small businesses, and it boggled their mind how expensive real estate was for commercial property for small businesses. And they're like, how the hell do people even start businesses when, right off the bat, it's $50,000, $60,000, a year in rent. They got to be doing, $250,000 just to break even on stuff. And that just seems wild. I said, I know. And it's not like any co-op spaces, and the mall would be a perfect place to do that. Like if they just broke up into smaller things, made it affordable, tax revenue, yada, yada, yada. But it was a fun conversation to have. Jerry, good morning, Jerry. And let's see. And everybody's giving their good mornings in there from each other to each other. It is bunny season, right? It is bunny season. Trinity, hello. Small businesses on my talking points. I love it. I love it. I love it. If there's anything we can, we can add to it. It's one of those where, the thing that boggles my mind is they always want to support small. But at the same time, there's never really any big funds for it. They will give millions to, Amazon to bring stuff to the area because it creates jobs. I get it, but they're, the smaller ones, it is. I mean, even look downtown revitalization in Moline. Is there as many businesses that used to be down there? No. Is there a whole corridor of empty storefronts down there, 16th Street, South Park, that they could bring in small businesses and generate something? Absolutely. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's a right or wrong thing, but it is pretty good. What's up, Chuck? Good morning to you. Good morning. Girls did great last night. I think they did great as well. First time Delaney was really excited with herself because she's like, I didn't realize that. Told Krista, I said, it's easy. You got it. And she crushed it. And she doesn't need a Valentine. She needs tacos. So they did that. I'm like, see, you guys can do this. And I said, just think on our end, hey, you don't even have to brush in the stones. We can just have the machine. And now they're like, how do we work the machine? See, I'm planting those seeds. So when we open up the storefront, I can just say, hey, here you go. Or I can even say, hey, we can at least get one for electrical here at home. And you guys can do that there part-time at night. Planting those seeds to grow tomorrow's trees, baby. Let's see. And they said, I heard a soundbite this morning that all of Amazon Fresh grab and goes are closing. Anyone else? I heard a lot's closing. 30,000, what is it? 30,000 UPS employees laid off, which you knew that was coming when they have, when they have contract negotiations and things come with higher pay. And this is across the board. It seems like when people get higher pay, more benefits and that, within a couple of years, what happens is the workforce declines because their profits aren't where they were. And it just seems like if you're in that profit business, you got board members to answer to, and this is like how we're going to do it. And it was based on Amazon, and I think it's because Amazon's bringing more in house, right? That they're bringing more, because I'm seeing more and more Amazon trucks and not last leg in it. So yeah, crazy. And there it is for it. And let's see. That's why our small businesses are taking over our homes. Absolutely. Like even us looking at it to lease a place and do that, we're like, wait a minute, for the cost that we would put into this, like, we could get a mortgage on a house and just buy another house and put it in there, especially if we're, not doing a storefront or anything. And then the house would just take it over and shipping in there, and nobody would be none the wiser. We're not having people show up or anything, and it'd be considerably cheaper. So totally get it. Okay. Now, what do you say we get into this? Because, when I had this conversation with when I seen, Linda, look, Hudson kept them in line. Yeah, he did. He did keep them in line last night. I see it there. Hi, eating breakfast, 30 in Texas. All ice is gone. That is great. That is all great for you down there. Because I seen some videos of people that were down there, and they're like, everything is closed. And they're from up here, and they're like, this is crazy. Like, this is their first winter in Texas. They're like, this is like normal for what I'm used to every winter. And like, I couldn't believe how it shut down. So pretty interesting how that is there. I gotcha. Ohio's -4. Ooh, we're not negatives right there. So like I said, during this conversation, Ed, where we just kind of talked about it, why they felt like, they were a fake business owner. I mean, they run orders, they handle customers, they manage money, they solve problems. But yet to them, it just didn't feel like a real business yet. And that voice, will get louder in slower seasons. When there's not the chaos to distract you, there's no rush to validate your efforts and no obvious, hey, look how busy I am, proof, to point to. And January is really good about exposing that feeling. And so, this isn't, we're not going to talk about, skills you need to learn. It's just, finding those beliefs that make you feel, illegitimate, even though your actions say otherwise. Because, most makers, they don't lack ability. They just lack permission. And they keep waiting for something or someone external to make it all feel real. So, number one, all right, you think that legitimacy, I'm going to use words that are going to make me stumble, and that's fine. Legitimacy comes from size, but really it comes from decisions. One of the biggest reasons that I feel that makers feel illegitimate is because they associate real business with a size, whether that's a storefront, employees, big sales numbers, the visibility that they have, something that other people can see. But really, size is just an outcome. It's not a requirement. The thing that actually makes a business real is, the decision making, choosing prices, choosing products, choosing boundaries, choosing your direction. In all of those decisions, those exist no matter the size of the business, no matter if you're working from a bedroom, a basement, a boardroom, a storefront, $20 million facility, right? All of those things happen at every level of the business. The way to look at it is, if you are making decisions that affect money, time, and customers, you are operating a legitimate business. Even if it doesn't look impressive to you yet, you are operating a real business. And like I said, some examples of this is a maker just assumes they're not a real business because they work from home and they don't have a storefront. Another maker runs everything from their spare room, but regularly makes pricing, scheduling, and policy decisions that directly affect the revenue. Real business stuff. So for this, just write down 3 decisions that you've made recently that impact your business. And that right there, those 3 decisions, that is what legitimacy and having a real business actually looks like. All right. Now, number 2, you mistake uncertainty for inexperience. Right? I think we've all been there. Another reason that makers can feel illegitimate is because things still feel uncertain. You don't always know how a launch will go. You don't know how busy next month, next week, or even tomorrow will be. You don't know if a decision you make today will work out. And you just assume that the uncertainty means that you're inexperienced and you're not running a real business. But I'm here to tell you that uncertainty does not go away with legitimacy. It actually makes it worse and scales it, right? It scales with it. Those real business owners, they don't operate with, certainty. They operate with adaptability. Yes, I nailed it. Feeling unsure, it doesn't mean you're behind. It just means that you're operating in real conditions instead of these crazy hypotheticals. You're deciding, hey, how is this pricing going to affect here? Hey, I've got products launches that I want to do next month. What do I need to plan for it? You're going to order wrong. You're going to post the wrong things. Things that you think are going to go great are going to fail. That's just part of it. And sometimes, a maker can feel like a fraud because, they just don't feel confident enough in making decisions. And they think that, that business owner with the storefront is real because they make the decisions. Guess what? Everybody runs into that. What you need to do, is just accept uncertainty as part of business and just trust your ability to adjust when you need to. That's all you got. So just think of one situation, where you didn't know the outcome, but you handled it anyway. That's experience, not lack of it. Now, number 3. Yes. You do not count the skills that happen behind the scenes. Sound familiar? A huge reason that legitimacy doesn't feel real is because most of the work that makes a business run, guess what it is? It's invisible, right? Your customers don't see your problem solving. They don't see your planning. They don't see your stress. They don't see your stress management. They don't see your ordering process. They don't see your design process. Well, you might see your design process. And they don't see everything that goes into keeping that business, fully functional. Real businesses are held together by invisible skills. What are some of those skills? Communication, organization, being calm under pressure. I have tough fun with that. Adjusting systems when something breaks. Just because no one applauds you, that doesn't mean that what you're doing doesn't count or doesn't work. You know, a lot of times, makers can, kind of dismiss their experience because it doesn't show up as a public win. Hey, I got all the orders out today. Is that a public win? They think it should happen anyway. To me, it's a huge win. Everything went out and on time with it. Now, if it can be right and I can read before sending stuff out, it'd be a whole lot better. Sometimes it don't. We all make mistakes. The thing that we need to do is recognize that handling just everyday issues, whether it's a customer or an operational hiccup, that right there is real business experience. So, just think of this. What are 3 behind the scenes problems that you've solved in the past year? And right there, that is your proof to look at anytime you feel like your business is not legitimate. Now, before we get into 4 and 5, let's check back in and see what we got here for it. Let's see. Barb says, just my opinion. I stopped putting on thank you for supporting my small business on things. I removed the word small. As to me, it can be a negative. That word I have tough connotation or negative effect. I 100% can understand that. Small business, they can't handle this. And by the SBA Association, what is it? Businesses that are under 25 million and 500 employees are considered small businesses. So yeah, thank you for supporting our business. And sometimes what we've ran into is where someone says, hey, well, you're a big business, so we only support small business. How? Right now, because we have employees, we're a family run business. We're not pulling any paychecks out of it. We got employees there first. We got the family involved. We're a family run business, and we're a small business. Even though we could reach 7 or 8 figures in revenue, we're still a small business. So I totally get that. I totally get that. And good thought, Barb. I think so too, Barb. I did the same thing. Valid point, Barb. Look at that, Barb. Nailing it today. Morning, Barb. Hi, Russeline. I have tough time with big words. I really do. And Barb said the girls did an awesome job last night. I'm going to remember. No, I'm just trying to be more eloquent. I don't know. It's one of the things it said was try to expand my vocabulary this year, not use the F word as much. I'm effing trying, okay? But Todd, the computer does it all, right? Yeah, the computer does it all. Somebody needs to operate. It's just, like working with AI. You still need somebody that understands how that works to get in the information to get out of it, right? You're only going to get as good at information you put in out. If that makes sense. I think all of it's there for dictionary of 50-cent words. I need that 50-cent dictionary, 50-cent words. Are you effing proud of me? You should be, right? Chrissy, good morning to you. Okay, now let's get back into it. 4, you're waiting on that validation. That is never going to come, right? Many makers think that, legitimacy will arrive with, a milestone. What are those things? Here's your revenue number. Here's a space. Here's employees. Here's a moment when somebody finally says, okay, now you're official. Guess what? That moment does not exist. Even people with storefronts, with teams, big numbers, they still question themselves. Validation doesn't eliminate doubt. It just moves the goalpost. Legitimacy is internal to you. It's something that you claim, not something that's awarded to you. Now, little story going back probably 10 years. I had a conversation with Matt, and and this one really stuck with me. And I said, when did you feel like you made it? And at this time they were, a 7-figure business, probably 30 employees at the time. And he goes, never felt that way, because I always felt that there was more to do. And if I feel like I made it, well, then I kind of sit back and just let things happen. So, it made me think, you're right. Because as, a small business owner, or as we're going to say now, as a business owner, you realize that you have to constantly be evolving with your business, changing with your business. You have to be making decisions on it. If you sit back, your competitors will pass you by. So you need to be the one that is pushing forward with it. So that changed the way that, not necessarily the way that we did business, but the way I thought about it, because I was in that same boat. Okay, when we reach this type of number, I remember when we hit our first six-figure year, and it's like, oh, all right. Yeah, that didn't matter because, I can sell a six-figure job tomorrow that only has a 3% profit. And so we sold what, $100,000 job and made $3,000. Whoop-de-doo. Right? Doesn't necessarily matter. What are things like this week? It's end of month. So we've got payroll due, we've got things come up. So while the bank account may look healthy, I know that a lot of it's going to be gone in the next week because of everything that's going to come out at the end of the month and the beginning of the month. We got to keep pushing through, keep going through things, and just keep working at it. So things to think about is that it doesn't always mean that you're going to feel legitimate when you hit these goals. You may think so, but it doesn't mean it. Legitimacy just doesn't magically appear after hitting the milestones. Self-trust shows up, right? You're like, yeah, I set the goal, I accomplished the goal, I did the goal. Now I'm going to set the bar a little higher, keep going from there. So, if you're in this boat, stop, tying the legitimacy of your business to a future milestone and just look at something that you've already done today that proves that you are a real business. All right. And number 5, feeling this way, feeling illegitimate. See, I knew I did it, is often a sign that you really care, not that you're failing, and that's what, it's kind of the reframe that I think a lot of people that feel like this need, feeling illegitimate, it doesn't mean that you're pretending, it just usually means that you're caring about doing it the right way, right? You're aware of your responsibilities. You're aware of your customers. You're aware of your business's needs and failures. You're thinking beyond today. You want sustainability. You want profit. You want something that you can be proud of. Hobbies do not question themselves. Businesses do. So let that sink in for a minute. Hobbies do not question themselves. Businesses do. Now, the goal isn't going to be to eliminate doubt. No, there's always going to be doubt. But it's about stop letting that doubt define your reality. Right? Because sometimes, people that have that self-doubt, they assume that feeling that way just makes them themselves that they are not cut out for business, right? While the other one that is feeling that way, recognize doubt it's just part of the growth process and continues on anyway. So, the next time that doubt shows up, just ask yourself whether it's actually, a sign of responsibility or wait, yeah, a sign of responsibility, that it is a sign of responsibility instead of a sign of failure. All right. Now, to recap all this, right? You don't feel illegitimate because you're not a real business. All right. You're feeling illegitimate because you associate legitimacy with the size of your business. You confuse uncertainty with inexperience. You do not count your invisible skills. You are waiting for validation that is never going to come. Yeah, it's never going to come. It's going to show up or come. Show up. Yeah. And you care enough to question everything, including yourself. Now, if you are making decisions, you're solving problems, you're managing time, and you're thinking ahead, you're not pretending, you're practicing, and that makes you a real business, whether you believe it or not. You are a real business. Now, that's what I got for you today. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. On Friday, what are we talking about? We're talking about new season, same skills, right? We're going to talk about how you're ready. It's there. Oh, that's what we're going to do. What if I'm not ready this time? I don't know. We're going to figure it out. So that's what we're going to talk about Friday. Questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and let me know here in the comments as we round this out from there. Let's see. Where was it at from there? You know me, Sailor Mouth, Angel Heart. I love it. That should be on a shirt. You should put that. Maybe there's earrings, Sailor Mouth, Angel Heart. Let's see that. I've heard that sentence a few clients. Opportunity for teaching. Yes, 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 indeed, Jerry. You forgot to tell me today is Wednesday. My kids need to go back to school. Are they still out? I got still a sick one. She still had a fever this morning. Lower. It's gotten lower each day, and so it's like you're staying home today. Oh, Jeff, it's Wednesday. Yeah, it is. Barb said it's important to do our own pat on the back. Yep, mine has accomplished something like learning software, improving skill. I know people that they have a little candy jar right there, and when they accomplish stuff, they get to pull a peanut M&M out, and they're like, "That's my reward. That's my pat on the back. Good job. You get a peanut M&M." I couldn't just stop at one. I need a handful of those bad boys. No school today because of the cold. Jeff said, we got a foot of snow, then negative temps. Might not have it all week. Oh, woo. Jeff, we all need a secretary. The kids haven't went to school all this week, just e-learning. We don't e-learn anymore. New super doesn't. Oh, really? So you're going to have that week added on at the back end? That does not sound like fun. At some point they will. And you get to a point where, at least here before we had e-learning, I think we had they had 4 days built in, and then anything after that was just a wash. So it was like when it got close, it was like, yes, snow all the time, because I don't have to make those days up. Those days are gone. E-learning is here. Wrestling schools are open here this week, even in sub-zero temps. But we didn't get the snow like the other places. Last Friday, they had e-learning. We had the one e-learning day last Friday. Monday, we thought they were going to have it because it was just as cold. But nope, they still had it there. My aunt out in the Boston burbs, 18 and a half inches of snow. That is wild. Jeff, your super needs to check in with China. They seem to be doing fine using it. What did I miss with China and what with China? I get it. Superintendent. I'm like, what am I missing? What is Jeff buying from China now? Okay. Like I said, we do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Those in mentorship community, we will see you in a half an hour. Everybody else, today is Wednesday. So check the group, because there should be the link. If it's not already in there, I think it'll go up today for training webinar tomorrow. So go check out the Facebook group for that. Make sure you register and get your information. Like I said, on YouTube side of things, if we don't have an answer by Friday, by Friday we're going to start looking at deeper into alternative methods to get things there. I'm leaning towards what we already have running with the Patreon and the Discord to be able to put things there with it. So we'll play all those things by ear. All right. Now, until next time, you guys have an amazing day. Peace, love, press on, and we will see you then.